Hey folks, here's another netbook video. This is a very unusual netbook. This is one that I managed to get for free, actually, from a friend of my dad's. This one I actually bought because I've wanted to make a video of it for a long time. This one, on the other hand, it just fell into my lap, pretty much. My dad's friend wanted to get rid of his laptop, and I said, sure, I'll take it off your hands. He just said it was an HP. I didn't know what to expect, whether it was like a DV6000 or a laptop newer than that or one of these. And it turned out to be one of these aluminum-bodied netbooks, sort of like the HP Mini 2140. However, this one is not a 2140, it's a 2133, which makes it quite a bit different. So let's show you what this thing looks like. You can see this part is largely the same keyboard, same trackpad lock button, everything pretty much the same layout, except that the speakers are actually on the screen this time, which is much better than having them under there, because you get better sound out of it. Still has a nice glass screen. Well, actually, this is plastic on this one. It's glass on the other one. I thought it was glass. Wow. So this one is actually this one's actually plastic. That's a bit cheaper than the other one. I like the glass on the 2140 better. It does have a webcam up there at the top still. On the side here, you get VGA without the screws. You get a cooling vent with a fan. You get a USB port with a dock connector on the side of it. I think these things had USB docks. You get audio jacks. On the front you get a power slider switch, hard drive light, wireless switch, and on the right you get an express card slot and SD card slot, USB, Ethernet, power, a little power LED there, and of course Kensington lock. And on the back there's the little battery, which is absolutely deader than a nail on this laptop. So what makes this netbook so unusual for what it is? Well, it doesn't look like anything special until you turn it over. And you see the HP stuff down there. HP 2133. VIA C7M Ultra Mobile Processor. That's what makes this weird, is that it has a VIA CPU in it and also VIA graphics. Here's the worst part. They married that with Windows Vista. Oh, lordy. Yeah, this actually came with the original recovery install of Windows Vista on it. And I tried reinstalling it, and it was agonizingly slow. I wiped it after a couple of days of messing with it and put Linux on it, and Linux is 10 times faster than Vista ever would be on this computer, to nobody's surprise at all. This thing would have been much better suited to Windows XP. It really would have. Plug in the power there. Just uses your typical HP brick on a leash type of setup for the power. So that's nothing unusual. It's a good setup, I like it. Yeah, they married Vista with a VIA. I don't know if they were trying to like be sadistic, and I don't know if they were being sadistic to people or what, but that's just disgusting. XP is a much better choice. Linux is a much better choice. It really is. There are XP drivers on the website, so I'm sure it would handle XP just fine. I chose Linux because it has newer software, so you know, there you go. I put Ubuntu 14.04, Ubuntu Mate 14.04 on this machine, and it's a much better running machine now. I did try Debian, but Debian would just hard freeze for no reason. So let's turn the machine on. See if I can do a pause on this thing. You can actually do Netboot right there, which lets you use it as a Pixie boot device, which is ideally what most VIA-based machines would be used for. Something like the hardware that's in this machine would typically be used in something like a thin client. So, you know, it So it has Ethernet as a boot option. So it's one of those things. What's the ROM-based setup? Is it F12? I can't remember what it is. F10, there we go. I gotta show you how stripped down the BIOS is. This BIOS only has 3 pages of options, and there aren't very many. Drive lock passwords, admin password, and you can set the boot device options, device configurations. You can swap the function and control keys if you want. Legacy USB support, fan always on, and you can turn SATA to either. Basically, when you see something like this in a BIOS, it either means AHCI or IDE. Compatible is IDE, native is AHCI. So you want to use AHCI whenever possible so that it's not such a burden on the CPU to access the disk. System information. Here's what we want. Okay, there you go. It's an HP 2133. You get your VSC7M CPU at 1200 megahertz or 1.2 gigahertz. It has a gig of RAM in here because I don't have any PC2 5300 that will go in here. If you put anything higher than that in here, it will just complain and not work. So, there you have it. Now let's boot into the OS so you can actually take a better look at what this thing's all about. The screen's so shiny you can see me in the background. Now, just like the other 2140s that I've used in the past, these things are pretty well built. The only real differences in quality is the plastic on the screen instead of metal or glass. And that kind of sucks, I think. I wish they had used glass on this as well, but some of these might have had touch screens or something and needed to use plastic. But this doesn't have a touch screen. It doesn't. Accessing the hard drive, as you can see. This thing has a 120 gig, 5400 RPM Toshiba hard drive in it, so they also were being sadistic to you by giving you a really slow hard drive. But that was typical for netbooks at the time. I can't really knock it for that because it saves a little bit of battery and heat to use 5400 RPM, but the thing is the power savings are so minimal that it's hardly worth it. So let me log in here. Now, having looked at the specs, you're probably wondering, why haven't you just dumped this netbook already? It's probably garbage with those specs. Well, it is to a certain extent, but it has one thing going for it that makes it very unusual, other than the CPU in it, that I really, really like, actually. As you can see, the resolution is pretty darn good on this thing. So let me show you exactly what the resolution is. I'll go to the monitors thing here. 1280 by 768. Yes, they fit that in a 10-inch screen. So you actually have more height for your windows. And part of that, I think, was they could use this as sort of a thin client-like device, so it needed a little bit of a bigger screen to handle that. But that's really good to have in a netbook. I've actually used this netbook to look at PDFs of motherboard manuals a couple of times recently, and it's been really helpful for that. Despite the low specs, the screen makes it very useful. You can have a small machine like this, but still have a decent resolution to be able to zoom into PDFs and things like that, so that's pretty nice. All right, let me look at system monitor here. See, it's not that slow for basic stuff. It doesn't have much RAM in it. I should probably upgrade that RAM at some point. There you go. It's running Ubuntu 14.04. It's using some of the RAM for video. When you actually do something on this machine, you can see the CPU just go up. I mean, it's not using any swap yet, but it will. It will. Mark my words. But there you go. How cool is that? They had made a netbook that is 1280 by 768, so that's basically slightly above 720p on a netbook screen, which is pushing the envelope for the time period, I think. That's pretty nice. If only they did this on the Atom-based netbooks instead of the VIA one, it would have been much, much, much better. Yeah, that's one unusual netbook that I thought I'd show you guys. Unusual screen size, man. I really like that about this machine. I like weird, unique computers, and netbooks were part of that era where the industry was sort of experimenting with size. So you could actually watch a lot of their trial and error attempts during this era, so I think it's pretty cool to take a look at that. So there you go. That is the HP Mini 2133. Had crap specs, gets hotter than hell when you use it. This thing gets really hot, actually, when you're using it. But has a really good screen resolution. Unusual combination. I thought I'd show you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good one, everybody. Ciao.